The restaurant was far too expensive for someone like Penelope Nash, 29 years old, with short blonde hair and visible anxiety. She wore a light blue sweater over a floral skirt, her only nice outfit, widowed, mother of 8-year-old twin boys working 2 jobs to keep their apartment tonight, was her first date in 3 years. Her coworker had insisted, "You need to live again, Penny. Not to survive, but now, sitting here in this restaurant, with string lights and candles." Penelope felt like a fraud. Man, she was meeting someone named Jonathan Was, apparently successful. That's all she knew. She almost left twice then. He walked in and her heart sank. He wasn't alone. Man in his mid-30s, with dark hair and a navy polo shirt, handsome, confident, holding the hands of 2 little girls, identical twins, with auburn curls, maybe 6 years old. One wore teal and carried a stuffed fox. The other wore pink with a rainbow backpack. Penelope watched as the hostess led them to her table. "Penelope," the man said, smiling. "I'm Jonathan Mercer." "Hi." She couldn't take her eyes off the girls. Jonathan followed her gaze. His smile faded. "I need to apologize. My mother was supposed to watch them. She had a medical emergency. I should have canceled." But he looked embarrassed. "This is the first date I've agreed to in 4 years, and I was too scared to reschedule. Thought I'd lose my nerve." One of the girls tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, we'll be good. Promise." The other nodded seriously. "We brought coloring books." Penelope felt something shift. "Why did you bring your kids here?" She whispered, it not from judgment, but from something else, confusion, maybe a recognition. "Because I'm a single father," Jonathan said simply, "and they're part of who I am. I can't pretend they don't exist even for a few hours, if that's a problem." "I completely understand." Kanala surprised herself. "What are your names?" The girls looked at their father. He nodded permission. "I'm Harper," said the girl with the fox. "I'm Hazel," said the girl with the backpack. "We're twins." "I can see that," Penelope said, smiling. "For real now? I have twins too." "You do both?" girls said in unison. Jonathan's eyes widened. "You have children?" "It's twin boys, 8 years old." "Where are they tonight?" "With my neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez." Penelope admitted she watches them sometimes when I work, or when I need. She paused time to pretend I'm a person, not just a mom. Jonathan sat down. "I know that feeling." They ordered all 4 of them. Harper and Hazel pulled out their coloring books but kept interrupting. "Miss Penelope, what are your boys' names?" "Lucas and Leo." "Do they like dinosaurs?" "Love them." "We like unicorns," Hazel announced. "Obviously," Harper added, rolling her eyes. Penelope laughed over dinner. She learned Jonathan's story. His wife had died in childbirth, delivering the twins. She had complications. "China," said his voice, careful. The girls couldn't hear. They were coloring emergency C-section. The girls survived. "China, I'm so sorry." "Thank you," Jonathan said. "It's been 6 years, but some days it feels like yesterday." Penelope understood. "My husband died 3 years ago. Heart attack. He was 32. One day he was here. The next he was gone." No warning, Jonathan reached across the table, squeezed her hand. "How do you do it?" "Single parenting, barely," Penelope admitted. "I work as a medical receptionist during the day, stock shelves at a grocery store at night. My boys eat a lot of pasta because it's cheap. I haven't bought myself new clothes in 2 years. She gestured at her outfit. "This is from a thrift store, but we're surviving. That's what matters." "What do you do?" she asked, expecting something modest. "I'm CEO of Mercer Development." Penelope felt her stomach drop. "Mercer Development, the biggest real estate company in the state." "You're that Jonathan Mercer?" "Yes." "I should have canceled." "Why?" "Because look at us," Penelope said, gesturing between them. "You're a CEO. I'm drowning in debt. You wear designer clothes. I'm wearing Goodwill. This was a mistake, was it?" Jonathan asked. "Or are you scared of what of the same thing I am?" Jonathan said that someone will see you with kids and run, that you'll be judged for being a single parent, for having obligations, for being a package deal. He looked at his daughters. "I brought Harper and Hazel tonight, not because my mother canceled. She didn't cancel. Penelope stared. What, this was a test? Jonathan admitted, I needed to know if you'd run when you saw them, if you'd judge me for being a single father, if you'd see them as obstacles, or as people. Penelope felt tears. That's horrible, I know, Jonathan said, but I've been on 6 dates in 4 years. Every single woman saw the girls and left, made excuses, or worse, stayed, but made it clear the girls were inconvenient, so I decided next time I'll know up front. Bring them on the first date, see if she runs, I should leave. Penelope said, but not because of your daughters. Then why? Because you lied to me. You're right, Jonathan, said I. Did, and I'm sorry, but please hear me out over the next hour. Jonathan explained how lonely he'd been, how hard single parenting was. Money, I can hire nannies, he said, but I can't hire a mother. The girls need someone who sees them not as obligations, but as people worth knowing, worth loving. He looked at Penelope. When you asked their names, when you smiled at them like they mattered, I knew what that you're different. Penelope was quiet, then said, I need to go, Penelope. I need to think. She stood, left money for her meal, even though Jonathan protested, walked out for 3 days. Penelope didn't respond to Jonathan's calls. She was angry about the test, about the lie, but also conflicted because she understood single parents were treated differently, judged, dismissed. She had experienced it herself. The 4th day, her doorbell rang. Jonathan stood there with Harper and Hazel. We came to apologize, Jonathan said. Properly. Harper stepped forward, held out a drawing. We made this for you. It showed 2 families, for adults, for children, all holding hands. This is our family, Hazel explained, pointing to Jonathan and herself and Harper. And this is your family, pointing to the other group. We want to be friends. Penelope started crying. That's very sweet. We're sorry Daddy lied. Harper said he told us. He said, lying is wrong. Even when you're scared, he's right, Penelope said. Kneeling down, lying is wrong. She looked at Jonathan. But I understand why he did it. Over the following months, they dated slowly, carefully, always, with all 4 children. Lucas and Leo adored Harper and Hazel. The feeling was mutual for kids becoming siblings. I'm falling in love with you, Jonathan said 6 months later. They were watching the kids play at the park. But I'm terrified of what if you thinking I'm with you for money. Penelope admitted that I'm some kind of gold digger. Are you? No, Penelope said firmly. I'm with you because you understand what it's like to parent alone, to be everything to someone, to love your kids so much it hurts. She looked at him. The money doesn't matter, though it would be nice to not eat pasta every night. Jonathan laughed. I'm falling for you too, and I don't care about money. I care that you see my daughters, really. See them not as obstacles to dating me, but as the best parts of me. 1 year after that restaurant date, Jonathan proposed with all 4 children present at his house. Lucas, Leo, Harper, and Hazel. He said, I have a question for all of you, for pairs of eyes watching. I'd like us to be a family, officially. Would that be okay? All 4 kids cheered. Then Jonathan turned to Penelope. And would you marry me? Make this official. Yes. At their wedding, all 4 children stood with them. They each gave a speech. Lucas went first. When Mom said she was going on a date, I was scared. What if she met someone who didn't like us? Leo continued. But Mr. Jonathan brought his daughters on the first date, which was weird. Everyone laughed. Harper spoke next. Daddy brought us because he wanted to know if this Penelope would like us. Hazel finished. She did. She smiled at us and asked our names. That's when we knew she was the one. Penelope stood, crying, when I walked into that restaurant, she said, and saw Jonathan with his daughters. I was confused. Who brings kids on a first date? She smiled, but then I realized he was being honest. This is who I am, a single father, a package deal, and he needed to know. If I could handle that truth, if I could see his daughters as blessings, not burdens. She looked at Harper and Hazel. You are blessings. Thank you for sharing your daddy. Jonathan spoke last. I brought my daughters on our first date, he said, as a test. I'm not proud of that. But I'm grateful for it, because Penelope passed not by pretending they weren't there, but by seeing them, okay? By asking their names, by treating them like people. He looked at his wife. You taught me something. That honesty isn't just about not lying. It's about showing who you really are, all of you. Even the complicated parts, especially the complicated parts, years later, when people asked about that first date, Jonathan would say, I brought my kids on purpose. Penelope would add, best, worst date ever. And the 4 children would chorus, we picked each other out. That's what families do. 'Cause sometimes tests reveal truths, sometimes honesty looks like bringing your whole life to dinner, and sometimes the person who sees your children and stays is exactly the person you need. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who believes in honest beginnings and blended families. Subscribe for more stories about single parents and second chances. Comment and tell us about a time when someone showed you their whole truth. Your story might inspire someone to be brave today.